In a small African village surrounded by misty mountains and whispering trees, a young woman named Chika arrived from the city to visit her grandmother's grave because she missed her so much after all these years away in her busy life with tall buildings and noisy cars. The villagers welcomed her with big smiles and said, "Chika, it's so nice to see you again." But when she asked for a place to stay, their faces turned serious, and they warned her, "Please don't go near the old Ibeji hut at the edge of the village. It's haunted by the spirits of the Ibeji twins, and strange things happen to anyone who stays there." Chika, who was brave and loved adventures, didn't believe in ghost stories because she trusted science and facts. So she laughed and said, "I'm not scared of silly tales. It's just an old hut, and I'll be fine sleeping there tonight." Before heading to the hut, she walked through the quiet village to the little graveyard, where she knelt by her grandmother's grave, placed some pretty wildflowers, and whispered, "Hi, Grandma. I miss you every day." Suddenly, a soft breeze blew, and she thought she heard a voice say, "Chika, don't stay in the hut. It's not safe." But when she looked around, no one was there, so she shrugged and told herself, "It's just the wind playing tricks on me." The Ibeji hut was old and creaky, with dusty floors and spider webs in the corners. But Chika liked how peaceful it felt as she set down her bag and noticed two tiny wooden statues on a shelf. Probably the twins the villagers talked about. As night fell and the moon peeked through the trees, she lay on a mat to sleep, but the air felt heavy, and soon she heard faint whispers, like people talking in a secret language she couldn't understand. The whispers got louder and sounded upset, making her sit up fast and light her lantern with shaky hands. The voices stopped, but then she heard a baby crying, a sad and lonely sound that made her skin feel cold because she knew there were no babies anywhere in the village. She got up and followed the cry to a dark corner where an old wooden cradle was rocking all by itself. And when she peeked inside, she saw bright red blood on the blankets, even though no one was there. Her heart pounded like a drum as she stepped back. And then, out of the shadows, a woman appeared. Her clothes were torn and white, and her mouth was stitched shut with black thread, which was so creepy that Chika wanted to scream. The woman stared at her with sad eyes and pointed right at Chika's chest, like she was trying to tell her something important. Before Chika could say a word, the lantern flickered and went out, leaving her in total darkness. And then she felt something icy cold touch her neck, like a hand made of frost. She yelled as loud as she could and ran out of the hut, stumbling through the dark until she fell down in the village square, too scared to move anymore. When the sun came up, the villagers found her sitting there, her feet dirty and bare, her eyes big and full of fear, and she couldn't talk at all, like her voice had run away. They took her to a warm house, wrapped her in a blanket, and gave her sweet tea while an old woman named Mama Tola looked at her and said, "She looks just like her mother did long ago." Her mother had a baby in that hut, a spirit child, and then she was gone forever. The villagers started talking quietly to each other, some saying the Ibeji twins were angry spirits who took Chika's mother, others wondering if her mother was still in the hut, watching over it as a ghost. By afternoon, Chika's voice came back, little by little, and she told them everything. The whispers, the crying, the bloody cradle, and the scary woman, which made everyone nod and say, "The spirits are awake. They want something from her." Chika decided to leave the village that day and go back to her safe city home, but she couldn't stop thinking about the hut and the cold touch on her neck. So she started reading books about the Ibeji twins and learned they were special spirits who protected the village, but got mad if people didn't respect them. One night, while she was alone in her apartment, she heard a whisper right in her ear that said, "Come back, Chika, we need you." And it made her jump because no one was there. The next morning, a letter came from the village. It was from Mama Tola, asking her to come back for a big ceremony to talk to the Ibeji twins and maybe find out what happened to her mother. Chika felt scared but also curious, so she packed her bag and went back, arriving to see the village buzzing with people putting flowers and candles around the hut to make it look special. That night, under a bright full moon, everyone gathered and started singing and dancing, asking the spirits to show themselves. The air turned cold again, the whispers came back, and the cradle rocked on its own. Then the ghostly woman appeared, but this time her mouth wasn't stitched, and she spoke in a gentle voice. "Chika, I am your mother. I was taken by the Ibeji twins to look after them in their spirit world, but now I can rest if you promise to honor them and tell their story." Chika's eyes got wet with tears as she said, "Mom, is that really you? I promise I'll do it." Her mother's spirit smiled, a soft glow around her, and then she faded away like mist, leaving the hut feeling warm and happy for the first time. The villagers cheered and hugged Chika, thankful that the spirits were at peace, and she felt lighter too, knowing her mother was finally free. She went back to the city but visited the village often, bringing flowers and telling kids the story of the Ibeji twins so no one would forget them. The tale spread far and wide, a mix of spooky mystery and family love that tied the living to the spirits. But some people in the village say that on quiet nights, you can still hear soft whispers from the hut, like the twins might have more secrets to share. If this story made your heart race and your eyes go wide, there are lots more adventures waiting for you. Follow us on Time of Tales to hear what happens next and discover more exciting African stories that'll keep you guessing.